Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach Today. I am so glad you're with us. As you know, my name's JB Glossinger, and this is your daily coaching system, the place to get your day started right. Welcome. Wow, you know what? It's been a while since I've done the full intro. That was pretty crazy. It is the 11th of July, 2021. I hope you're doing great. I am still here in Indiana, having some fun, and we are just putting some great energy out there. I told you about the good news from Kajabi. We were learning more about the system. I am just so pumped and excited to get everything into one system. It is a dream come true for me, and sending you some of that energy. Hopefully that is going to help your dreams come true. But today I want to talk about a little bit of spirituality and your personal relationship with God. This is a deep one, so let's get into it.
Thank you for listening to the Free Morning Coach, CoachCast. Today's sponsor is the MorningCoach.com Productivity Belt System. With everything happening in our busy world, it's hard to stay on top of things and get anything done. This is where Morning Coach comes in. We can help you find the best productivity tools for your lifestyle and goals. You'll also be able to take a quick assessment so we know what your thought process is, so we can identify the best system for you. All you have to do is stop by MorningCoach.com and you will find the free thinking assessment, as well as many other tools and resources to help you. Finally, you've found the right system and coaching for you. We will see you over at morningcoach.com, where dreams become a reality. Now, back to the show.
So I've always said that, your relationship with God is a very personal one. I sometimes do not get into this topic enough of spirituality and connection. It's one of the things I was speaking with Karen with the other day as she manifested a pretty great chunk of money, and we were talking about how that works and the way the metaphysics of things work here at Morning Coach are so important. And sometimes, we get off topic because I'm so driven to help you really get your productivity in place and get your systems organized and get the business going, because I absolutely love that stuff, that I forget about the spiritual side of things, which is what I studied. When I did my MBA, it was great. I learned business, but when I got into metaphysics, I really went down the spiritual track, and I learned about all the different religions around the world. We studied everything, and it was such a joy to really learn about the reason people believe what they do. And at the end of it, when I finally got done with it, I was so much more of a spiritual being than a religious being, understanding that religion is a dogmatic way for you to get to your relationship with God. That's what it is. So I'm not here to say anything bad about any particular religion. They all can work for you if it is your chosen religion, if it is your chosen path, right? And so religions can be a great pathway, but here at Morning Coach and the things that we do is it's not about religion. It's more about the spiritual connection that you have with your God or your deity. And that connection is a very, very personal one. And I think the majority of people that come to Morning Coach, and I can tell you just from the surveys and from talking to people that we've coached with, we have some of the most intelligent people in the world that have come here that are going, I want to learn a little bit different way to live my life. We have academics who are PhDs that are, have run to the ranks of being great professors with tenure, but they still are saying, I want more. I want something different. To people that are housewives that have done wonderful things and been on Shark Tank and done really cool things. We have the gamut of everybody, and it's wonderful. And I love that. But we're really always talking about life and the way life is to be lived. And the truth is, we live on the surface, and there's this iceberg below us of depth of life that we need to connect with. And it's something that we should always be looking to. But that depth, that really deep part of it, is your personal relationship. It's the connection that you make. And my job here is to open you up to that. And I've always said that whether I go down to St. Pete's Catholic Church, which is where I did my Catholicism and I was raised, and I walk into that church, I can feel a connection with God. I can feel that connection, and I can just remember those days of growing up and feeling that spiritual connection. I love that. Or I can go to a Buddhist meditation and hear the bell ring, and I can go in that meditation and have a monk be chanting, and I can feel the connection with God. I can feel that connection with God in any spiritual location. I can go out in the woods here, which I talked about for so many years on the podcast, by my special tree, which, by the way, I have not been able to find, I think maybe they chopped it down, this huge tree that I used to carve my name in. I think that might be gone. I'm going to go take a look for it one more time, maybe this afternoon, and see if I can find that. But I can find God in that nature, and I can connect with all those beings there by my personal relationship. And so what I want to talk about today on a Spiritual Sunday is that it's your personal relationship with your deity or God, which is really what you're after. And if a religion takes you there, that's fantastic. That's great. If that's the answer, then go after it. If you've found a path that works, great. But if you haven't found that path, then keep your mind open and just believe, and that spiritual energy will come through, and we realize that it's at that depth of who you are is really what we're talking about. And when it comes to manifesting, that connection, that spark of divinity, that relationship that you have just serves you in massive ways. That connection that you have with your God is such a connection, and it's something that can really change your life. You know, for me, I've always been one that researches things and really, I believe, is very practical. And, we could go down the path of faith versus no faith, meaning I want proof that God exists. Well, I've seen it many times in my life. I've manifested and seen the manifestation of miracle. And miracle to me is something that just comes out of the blue and just happens. Yeah, maybe we are living in the Matrix. Maybe we are. Maybe there are computers controlling our whole existence. But to me, I want to have that faith. It just provides me so much more to know that there are times when I can let go and let God. I realize that I'm a human. I realize that I make mistakes. And yes, I can go find proof and search for it. I believe I've found my own personal proof. But there are so many people on the scientific side that say, I want proof. But part of the reason you don't have proof is that it's the faith that really holds true in your personal relationship with God. It's the faith that you have in the unknown is really what we're talking about here, right? And so as you strive forward and during your day this Sunday, it's about digging in to whatever it is your spirituality is. Again, it can be a quote unquote religion, but what we're talking about specifically is a spiritual connection to a deity, to your God, to whatever you personally believe in. And again, there are a myriad of beliefs out there, and one of the ideas is called religious pluralism. And religious pluralism basically is the idea that when the awakening occurred and when people started to become more spiritual, that these spiritual leaders that came to different parts of the world. And if you think about it, back in the day, North American continent versus the European continent, they were like different planets. You didn't even know they existed. You couldn't even travel then, right? So a deity that came to the Native American Indians could have been somebody totally different than somebody that came to the Europeans. And really that connection to that God could have been through multiple ways, right? And so that's what religious pluralism is that it believes that there are multiple paths to God. And it's really kind of what I believe. Now, I'm always open-minded. That's one thing that in my book, Get Out of Neutral, that I was rereading and redoing, as I mentioned yesterday, one of the big things in the first part, one of the 4 realizations of life is to keep an open mind. And I've always said, you can challenge me on anything. I want to be challenged. And as long as you challenge me, then you better bring it. If you say I'm negative or I said something wrong or I did something, then bring it. And I'm willing to step back and eat crow. I'm willing to say I'm a human and I make mistakes. I'm willing to understand different viewpoints, but just don't get emotional and angry and run away from me. That does nothing to me when we're having a discussion and you're trying to change my point of view. I'm very opinionated. I will admit it because I've studied, I've read, I continue to study every day. I continue to evolve. I coach literally thousands of people around the world every day. I get emails, I get phone calls, I get messages. I mean, I get all kinds of stuff that are telling me the things that I've taught, the things they've learned, what we've worked together on. And I take all of that and I continue to evolve the system. And along those ways, there's been some criticism. There's been people that have been very critical. And the ones that I've listened to are the ones that bring me the data, that bring me the ideas, that bring me something that I can say, okay, that's great. Change my mind. Bring it. But the ones that have never really worked with me are the ones that got all emotional. Well, you don't understand because you don't get it, and I'm not going to talk to you. Well, that does nothing for me intellectually to be able to change my way of thinking. If you're going to change my way of thinking, you better bring it. You better bring facts and data, because I am constantly studying, I'm constantly researching, I'm constantly reading so that I can continue to enrich my brain so that I can coach and help people along the way. But I also believe in having that real strong personal relationship with God, because one of the things I can always do is let go and let God. And I think that statement is huge. When you're struggling and you're trying to get things going and you're out there living your life, being able to let go and let God gives me a lot of strength compared to somebody who says, well, I don't believe in any of that stuff. Well, I'm just going to go live my life. Well, that's a life of quiet desperation, as Thoreau said, right? If it all ends, that's a pretty scary proposition. I personally don't want to believe that. I lost 2 friends this week, and I believe that whatever the experience is, we're not going to go into past life or future life. I don't even want to go there, but I have to believe that there's something better. And that's me personally. I'm not going to push that on you. That's not something we're going to do here, but I believe that there is something better, and I believe they've left and they're off to the next experience. Those close friends that I'm starting to lose, the older I get, the more friends I lose. And I have to believe that there's something better out there. And I do personally believe that through all my study and research, that next experience is what it is, another experience. And we're experiencing our life right now, and we're having our experience. And to me, I'm going to have gratitude to the deity, to my God that allowed me to create myself and to be able to have this wonderful experience called life, the good, the bad, the indifferent. So today, what I want to challenge you to do on this Spiritual Sunday is just dig in a little bit and find your connection to your God. Whatever that is, whatever that looks like, I don't know. I'm not here to tell you what that is. I'm not here to push you a specific direction. What I'm here to tell you is life is better when you have a connection to something deeper. And like I said, our lives typically are just on the surface level of that what did the Titanic sink by? I can't even think of the name of it. The iceberg. I couldn't think of that for a minute. But we're the tip of the iceberg. You go underneath the water and you see that's where the real iceberg is. It's gigantic down there. That is the depth of life. And that's one of the things we talk a lot about here at Morning Coach is about getting into that depth, getting into that spiritual side. And how do you do that? You connect the way that you have chosen. And that could be a religious path. That could be a spiritual book path. That could be going into nature and just disappearing for a little while, but there is a path and we're all on it. But realize that all those paths lead to that connection to God that you have that's very personal. And that's what I want to leave you with today. So go do that. Have that connection today. Just don't forget spirituality. Make sure that's part of your life wheel. Make sure that's part of your plan. It's a holistic plan here at Morning Coach. It's just not about one area. It's just not about making money. It's just not about having great relationships. It's about the whole system of life. And life is filled with wonderful moments. It's also filled with potholes that we fall in. We're here to help you out of those pothills, and we're here to high five when you have a great thing happen. So life is beautiful. Go enjoy it. There may be some ups and downs, but let's just keep rolling here on Morning Coach, and let's just keep rolling day by day. So go find that personal connection today, however you do, even if it's just 10 minutes. Feel it. Feel that connection and understand you can always let go and let God. And that's a powerful thing to be able to do, and it can change your life. All right, I love you. Go do it to it. We'll see you tomorrow to get the week started right here on morningcoach.com. Go have a phenomenal day.